So I'm here in the library again. This is usually what I do during the day. I spend all this time in the library just basically going through a lot of my data and planning my day, and then sending emails. So this video is basically a continuation of my last video on my field tech job in Oregon. So it's gonna be a lot just like using my pilot and showing. So this is really the West Coast, California, Oregon, Washington, and then right here there's Portland, and here is Eugene. So basically our site was called Drain. We trained in Humboldt, and basically I was working for an organization called Hammer Environmental. So the interesting thing about this project was basically that the BLM, or the Bureau of Land Management, basically hires environmental consultancy companies like Hammer Environmental to prove that a certain plot of land, mostly coniferous forest, that is logged a lot, has no endangered species. Because if the forest is cut and there's actually endangered species in this area, then it's a violation of the Environmental Species Act. I believe this is the right name. So the saw-whet owl is another very common species. It's also endangered. Marble murrelets, I believe, are alcids or associated with alcids, and they tend to be in this area. So I would basically had to survey the area from 6 to 8. I would get dropped in the middle of the forest. I actually have one of the recordings, and then spend all day inside the forest and spend 2 hours in the morning inside the forest. But I would get paid like a full day, and it was so remote. It was basically a lumber town, a timber town. So a lot of the people's livelihoods from this area had nothing to do with, like in Portland, that they deal with tech, or there's a lot of jobs in the Pacific Northwest with, say, fisheries, or there's a lot of like NGO jobs as a byproduct of all the tech jobs. But it was really just like, this is really the gritty of the Pacific Northwest, which is fisheries and timber, which is kind of interesting. I mean, I went to a agriculture school, which is Corvallis. So this was a lot of the mindset of the people in this town was very common to Corvallis, which is a Sea Grant university, I believe. So basically, we have the forests, and I had to spend 2 hours in the morning just to make sure that the birds were not there. I never found a single bird. Nobody ever did. So the forest could be cut in a timely fashion, because it wasn't putting in danger any species, and all the surveys would be released to the county as proof that this species was not there. Anyway, and as I mentioned, I made in 2 months, because I was paid housing and I was paid $18 an hour, paid full day. I made like $3,000 in very little time, in 3 months, and then I moved to San Francisco with enough money to rent, which was one of my life dreams. Anyway, hope that you like my video on marble murrelets.